Good morning, friends. It's Katie, or at least it's morning here. It's another Saturday morning, first thing it's still dark out YouTube video. Do you know that's when I usually film? That's when I usually film. We've got the Return of the Dragon mug. I do have other mugs. I also love my other mugs, but on Saturday mornings are for my favorite mug. And this is my favorite mug, or at least one of them. Today, I thought it would be fun to go through my B6Slim Common Planner and all the sticky notes that I've put on it to talk about how I'm going to use the different spreads, or at least what I'm thinking. I don't think I'm planning on doing a full setup video for this planner because I don't know that I plan on really doing much like setup. I think I'm just gonna like start, and it's still too early to start, which I am very sad about, but here we go. So I have sticky noted the planner, and I thought it would be a good time to go through it. So the first spread here in a common planner is this like year at a glance, and I don't use this a whole lot. But what I like to use it for is like appointments at a glance. I don't have that many like doctors and dentist appointments in a year, and I hope not to in 2025. And mostly that information gets stored in my Google Calendar. But there are times where it's January and I'm thinking, I haven't had a dentist appointment in a while. It feels like that ought to be coming up, but I don't remember. You know, they're every 6 months. And so it's helpful that like I just have a dot and a little thing on it. I'm like, oh yeah, it's in March, right? And I can just glance at it. I didn't need to take action. I was just like having that like niggling sense in the back of my mind that like that ought to be coming up. And so I can just glance at it here. That's all I usually use this for, and that's really all I intend to use it for this year as well. Here we've got like a blank spread, and actually these like goal breakdown, and I'm using the MakseLife goal system this year. I showed in my lineup video that I bought the like undated digital companion notebook, so that's where I'm like working up all my goals and stuff. I think I'm just gonna copy them here or print them out. This would be a good place for my annual goals, and I don't, to a certain extent they work. I'll have to decide if I feel like also doing like this spread as it's listed, because I think there are some ways in which the like breakdown works, but also the way the MakseLife goals are, there's like 8 of them, 8 areas of life, and it would work well across 4 pages instead of just 2. So it's going to be for my MakseLife annual goals as a way to like kind of catch that for this year. But exactly how many pages it's going to go across, I'm not really sure yet. Then we get to the yearly tracker. I use this as a symptom tracker. Thankfully, I don't have too many symptoms at the moment. I changed some medication last year that's really been really cutting down on a lot of my symptoms, which I appreciate. But what I like to do for these, let me get a little pointer. So a lot of my symptoms are digestion related, or at least they have been in the past. And so the way I liked to think about, because this spread is new, but the spread is new, but I actually had something very similar to this with 5 lines in it in my passport, which is actually right here, so we can maybe even talk about it. I just drew something similar in the passport here. I guess this was a little different. It was like Monday, it was weekly, like days of the week across the top, and then weeks of the year down. So that was different, but it was also 5 squares big, and this is just what it looks like. It wasn't very intense. I'm thankful to not have a lot of intense symptoms to track. But the way I like to do this, just making sure I'm in focus, right, is that there are like these 5 lines. There are 4 lines, and I like to have the first line be for breakfast. Here, I'll write it here. So like this first line is breakfast, the second one is lunch, the third one is dinner, and like the fourth one is like later night. So I write things on the line if they have to do with that meal. And I write things in the spaces in between the lines if they have to do with like another symptom that's like kind of in that chunk of time. So if I had a headache, you know, in the morning, I would put it here in this column between breakfast and lunch. Whereas if I had it like first thing, I would do it in this first one. Or if I had it in the middle of the night, I would do it in this last one. And so that's what I use here in that top one. It's new to have the second. I might be able to write a little more detail about what I'm talking about here on those lines and in those spaces. But that's how I use it. Obviously, that only really works if you're able to like denote things in an extremely compact way, because these boxes are very small and like the difference between on the line versus in the space is like very small. But I don't have that many things to track. It's easy to like just write one letter and I know what they're talking about. I can make a key. So that's how I like to do my symptom tracker. And then it's nice to have the whole year here for when I'm like trying to assess if something has gotten more prevalent, or, you know, I'm always having a problem at lunch or something. All right, here are the quarterly pages, and I'm going to use this left side here for more MakseLife breakdown kinds of stuff. I think I'm going to use this priorities Q1 for like quarterly emphasis kinds of things and quarterly tasks, something that has to happen sometime in one of these 3 months. And then I'm going to use the months to track, to like write down the goals that I've broken down from the MakseLife system for these monthly. I'm not certain there's enough space here. We'll see. The MakseLife kind of encourages you to make very actionable goals, and so even like lots of small accomplishable ones is appropriate. So so if this isn't enough space, then I'm actually going to move it to the monthly calendar, but I'm going to start here and see where it goes. I don't have a great idea for this. I haven't been using it in the past. It seems super functional. If you need more space for the like symptom tracker, this would be a great place to do it. I think I might do it as book tracker and just like draw a line on what days I'm reading a certain book. Did I try this? I think I've like made a half-hearted attempt at that in one of these previous ones. No, not here. I'm not holding the spread too tightly. We'll see if some useful need comes upon me for this, but at the beginning of 2024 I was using it as a habit tracker, and I plan on mostly having that in my weekly pages instead of here, because my weekly pages are a thing that is right in front of my face, a thing I have learned about myself in the past years, that like the more things are directly in front of my face, the more I do them. And so having the like daily habits on a separate spread is not a recipe for success for me. And the nice thing about like a book tracker is I actually track that somewhere else. That would be mostly backfill as I feel like it. Essentially memory keeping. Got a couple quarters. Here we come to the monthly, and I'm like terrible at monthly. I made these sticky notes earlier, like several weeks ago, and I said it was for experiment planning and appointments, and I don't think that's true. I'm not going to do that. So the monthlies are still mostly mine to use. If I decide to use them for the monthly MakseLife stuff, I'm just going to write over the numbers and whatever, the spread. That's not my preference. The numbers have gotten a little darker, a little bolder, a little harder to just like ignore and write over. What were they like in this? Yeah, I mean, not a lot, but a little, which I understand for accessibility reasons is really helpful, but in terms of just writing straight over things, slightly less. In my B6 planner journal, which I don't have right in front of me right now. I use this as a currently inked. I haven't really been inking my pens. We'll see if I come back to that, but I can always do that in some of the marginalia here. What I'm tempted to do, based on Little Coco Studios idea, is actually writing when I spend time with somebody on here, because that is one of my goals in 2025, is to spend more in-person time with in-person friends, and to like really make that an initiative. And so maybe that can be a thing that I like just write in here who I saw and like what we did. I don't think it'll be a very full layout, but we'll see. A lot of the stuff that would go in a monthly, I prefer to keep on Google Calendars, and so that's why I don't really use this too much. I'm not a good page flipper. I'm just not. All right, then we get to the crux of things. Let's skip. I've shown this before. So I did a sample layout. First I was doing it in pencil here, and then I actually went ahead and printed and cut stickers. So I made these stickers myself. They are not available anywhere, although it's easy to get script stickers from places. And for this part, I think you could use the like tiny days of the week stickers that Sterling Ink sells, but you won't have exactly what I have here. But this is my like essentially dashboard, catch all the things, have everything in front of my face, B6Slim layout that I'm very excited about. So let's go through it. So quintessentially here, what it is both a horizontal planner and a vertical planner on the same page. I prefer verticals when we talk about timed tasks, events, appointments, that kind of thing. I don't have very many of them. That is not a thing that my life... Let me get my planner. Okay, so here's my weekly layout for this week, and I've got 3 timed things. There should have been one on Thursday, here in the red. So we're talking like 3 or 4 timed appointments in a week. Not very many. I don't have the kind of job where that is like main focus. If it was, I probably would be using a true vertical. But I do feel like I see timed events best in a vertical, while also kind of feeling like I do tasks best in a horizontal. So that's what I'm doing here. This is the B6Slim. If anyone is looking to recreate this, I have made my daily columns 5 boxes wide, and I feel like that still gives me enough room for this list. Obviously, this is a write small kind of situation, but I do write small, and I'm planning on doing a plan with me here in the next few weeks when we can actually get started, so you can see this kind of in action. But this is just a place where I will highlight the time and put the name of the appointment in. There won't be too much. It's not that dense. Obviously, if you need more space, you could go further down. I have this one go from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. I'm not going to have any appointments outside of those times. I could change it. I'm definitely not going to have any appointments at 6. I could change this. I just like this because it ends at a line here, which I've extended across just for continuity's sake from the horizontal on the left. So my plan here is to have timed appointments here in this vertical section, and then day-specific tasks here in the horizontal section. There are 6 columns here, which I think is a good amount for me. I don't get that many day-specific tasks done in a day outside of my work, right? Because this is a personal planner. My work planning is somewhere else. But also I have here like an Alistair method non-day specific tasks list here. This is also where my habit trackers are going to be, because I find the Alistair method from bullet journaling to be a very useful setup in that it works well for both your like habit tracker and your like tasks. This is also a great place for tasks that are going to last more than one session in a day. So I'm gonna try and prioritize things that I haven't assigned a specific day to have those be here, so that I can not use too much space here on the day. And then depending on where my brain is on a given day, sometimes I'm in a day where I need like to write down every stupid step on a task so that I can like mark it off. Like that's the thing my brain needs. When I'm in that situation, I do those in my dailies, which will be in my journal. So if I like, for example, on Monday, we could say, you know, I want to work on the video, you know, setup video or whatever. And then in the daily, I can have film video, edit video, make thumbnail, publish, you know, and where I can check all of those off. Maybe that's how I want to spend that time here in my horizontal, but I think here it's a little more for like the bigger tasks that I can break down into my daily. Let's talk about my list here and we'll come back to the monthly. I like to be keeping track of what mail I expect to be coming in this week. Some errands that I need to run on my like way home from work on my commute. This is a place I put groceries. It's not like my weekly grocery list, but like, I've got to stop on my way home and pick up more milk or whatever. I'll put that here. This isn't for like, I'm cooking, you know, 5 days worth of food and I need my grocery list. This wouldn't be big enough for that. This is like, gotta remember to stop and get that on the way home kind of grocery list. And here's my meal plan for lunch and dinner, so that I can keep track. So I bulk cook, usually about a week's worth of meals at a time that we eat for lunch and dinner. So there'll usually be a lot of repeats in between across these. But because I bulk cook like that, it is easy for me to assume there's food tomorrow when there isn't. Like when we finish something or we're about to finish something, this actually keeps it front of mind of like, okay, we've got 3 servings of this lunch left, so I can write that down on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. But that keeps me in mind that like on Thursday we'll need different food, which means that on Wednesday I need to be like cooking and, you know, I need to be thinking about what I'm going to pick up. It just like helps keep front of mind when we're going to run out, because it's easy in a bulk cooking situation to be like, I'm good for days. I never need to think about it again. And so that's just a way of keeping that like top of mind. The last section I put here, I've named monthly, and this is the part that's like still very much a work in progress. And let's actually skip back to here. So I ended up buying these sticky notes. I got them on Amazon. I can leave a link. They came in a pack of 9, like 3 sets of 3 colors. And they come in a bunch of different sets. But I thought they were a nice size. The only downside is they're 5mm grid, which is bigger than the grid beneath it. So we'll see. I've also put like repositionable sticky tape on the other edge because I don't like it when they flip like this. You know, for these that's fine, but I prefer it when they don't. And my plan here is for these sticky notes to be for my monthly habit tracker, or in other words, the things I do once a week. I need a place for that that's right in front of my face on my weekly. And I find habit trackers to be quite motivating in like a don't break the chain kind of scenario where like I put the dot marker in and I want all my dot markers to be crossed off, and I actually find that to be quite motivating. So my thought is that one of these is going to be for these like weekly habit trackers, and one of these for tasks from my monthly goal list that I haven't assigned to this particular week, but I might do this week. And the reason I did this on the sticky notes is my intention is to peel them up and to move them from week to week without having to rewrite them, but so that they are always in front of my face. That is my plan, but that is a thing that we are experimenting with, and we will have to see how it works. But I think it leverages how my brain works best, which is to have things in front of me, to want to like not break the chain. So like I could put a thing that I do only once this week, but I want to do every week in my like regular list. But there's something about I want to have all 5 of them filled in, and I filled in 3, and that makes me want to fill this 4th one in more, that I think leverages to like me, making me more likely to do those things. I've written some things down, but I haven't totally figured out what those habits are, but I think that's going to be what goes here. And then when I move the sticky notes, it's possible I'll like transcribe it into that spot so that it's not like empty on my page, or I'll like put a pretty sticker there or something. And that I think I might like transpose some of that. I might translate some of that information back to some of these pages, but I think the goal is actually to make the stuff that would be on these pages more visible to me on my weekly, and so then I can always go back and check these off at the end of the month. Like, oh yeah, I did these things. They were on my sticky notes, and I can just go and fill them in. I do plan on putting like tabs, like repositionable tabs here. That does help me flip pages, but as I've said, I'm not a great page flipper, so the more I can have on this one page right in front of my face, then the more likely I am to do it. And then there are only 8 pages in the back of this common planner. There were 120, and I cut them out. So, because I didn't really think I had a use for them, and I don't currently know how I'm going to use those 8 pages in the back, but I'll probably find a way. I'm gonna have a little insert for scratch notes. I'm gonna have my journal for all kinds of stuff. So a lot of the places I might need to like just randomly write something down, I have covered, but I could do like, I think it would be a great place for some kind of annual collection. I just don't know what that annual collection is yet. So anyway, that's what we've got going on here. I am so pumped to like actually run this experiment and see how this all works for me. Like it strikes me as like super functional and something that's really gonna work for me, but obviously the only way to know that is to like get in there and start doing it. And so I'm very eager to like get in there, but it's too early yet. I'm filming this on, December, I don't know, 14th, I think. So we still got a whole week, 2 whole weeks, and then I could start on this week here. I will start on this week here. So 2 full weeks before we can move in. I'm trying to hold my horses, but it's not easy. I hope you found this helpful. If maybe jostled some ideas in your mind too, how to use some of these pages. Thanks for hanging out with me. If you'd like to see more, hit the subscribe button. If you enjoyed this, you can hit the like button. I really appreciate it. And I'd love to talk to you in the comments. Bye, friends.